Hi everyone, welcome back to Total War Therapy. I'm Alberto. Soon it starts the Eurovision, but first let's see together every single army composition from the early to late campaign with the new Tigermen warriors and all the Grand Cathay units available in the Bhashiva campaign. So don't forget to subscribe if you wanna support my channel, and let's begin. Hi, I'm Alberto, I'm a real person, and here you will find the beginner's guide, the battle unit roster, tier list, ranking and many shorts, so if you wanna support the channel, please consider to subscribe. First, let's check together all the buildings available in the early game of the Bhashiva campaign. As you can see, there is one building from the second tier. This because when you begin your journey with the White Tiger, you will have already access to the second tier building of the Tiger Warriors chain, so you will be able to recruit the Tiger Warriors units since the beginning. Otherwise there is no Tiger army to talk about here. And then you can get some Peasants from the settlement building and some melee and missile infantry from the first tier of the barracks. And now let's see together a possible army composition for this very first stage of the game. As you can see, your front line will be consisting only of Tiger Warriors and Jade Warriors with shields. Now, this decision depends entirely on you. If you are fighting against an enemy with a lot of missile units, it's probably better to use more Jade Warriors with shields, now that your Tiger Warriors are not that strong because you haven't enhanced them yet with all the mechanics of the campaign. But I can spoiler to you that you will fight mostly against Ogre Kingdoms and Greenskins, so the Tiger Warriors are the best option in this scenario. They are more aggressive, they are faster, and they don't need to be slowed down by the Jade Warriors with the shields. Then to cover your flanks and the rear guard, in case you wanna use some missile infantry, you can get some Peasants that are very cheap and they do their job majestically. And then you can get some Jade Warriors with the crossbows to get some cover fire in case you want to add an extra of missile and ranged damage to your enemies, and especially against Ogre Kingdoms in the beginning of the campaign. They are the best choice. Hi everyone, I'm Alberto from the future, from one day after the editing of this video, because I wanted to clarify some points about the prices that I overlooked during the first editing of this video. Basically, the Tiger Warriors are very expensive. They have the same price of a third tier unit in this game, probably a little more, so keep this in mind when you plan your strategies. I know that during the campaign you will focus on recruiting as many Tigermen as possible, but yeah, they're definitely more expensive than the average unit, and in my opinion they don't perform accordingly. But this is just me. Now let's move to the second tier buildings of this campaign. As you can see, we kept the building of the Tiger Warriors that will be the only Tigermen units available at this point of the campaign, but in addition we can get some Jade Warriors with the halberds from the second tier of the barracks and a new missile infantry that are the Iron Hail gunners, that are basically some kind of small mortars. Now let's see together a possible army composition with these new units. Our front line will be still consisting of Tiger Warriors and Jade Warriors with the shields, but to cover our flanks and as a support in case there are some big entities that are threatening our front line, we can get the Jade Warriors with halberds. Now, both in case the cavalry is charging you to the flanks, and if there is a big monster, the Tiger Warriors, even if they are more offensive and aggressive than the Jade Warriors, they are not that great against large entities, also against the cavalry, so I would still suggest you to rely on your halberds
And then for the missile part of this army, I suggest you to get a combination of the good old crossbowmen of the Jade Warriors, and also these iron hail guns that can provide a strong damage at the front of your army, because you need to deploy them in the first line, otherwise they will not be able to shoot, because they need a straight sight of the target. And yes, they provide a lot of damage, but if you want to use them, you have to play a little more defensive. Or I mean, at least you need to plan your offensive strategy better, with the Tigermen that are like, charging at the sides, and at the front some hail gunners that will open a breach. Now let's move to the third tier buildings of our campaign, and as you can see, we finally got access to another building of the Tiger Warriors chain, so we will be able to recruit new Tiger units that are not that many, so it's better to do it as soon as possible. That are the Tiger Warriors Stalkers, that are a stealthy unit, and the Close Speaker, that is a spellcaster of this civilization. And also we have access to the third and the last tier of the barracks, that will give us the Gate Master and some cavalry, and the Jade Warriors with the crossbows and the shields. And also we have finally our first artillery piece, and only probably in this campaign, that is the Great Cannon. And also we can have the Astromancer and the Alchemist that we're not gonna use in this army composition, but in the next ones I will show you why. But we can get also the Celestial Lion for some flying support. Okay, now let's see together a possible army composition for this third tier army. As you can see, now our front line will be consisting only of Tiger Warriors. This because at this stage of the campaign you will have boosted a little your Tiger Warriors, not only with the mechanics of the campaign that are the the Tiger Court, but also with the skill lines of Bhashiva and the Tiger Warriors Sawai, that are the Tiger generic lords. Then to cover our flanks, our rear guard, and to offer some anti-large support, we will still rely on the Jade Warriors with the halberds, but we can get also some Tiger Warriors Stalkers if we want some units to hide in the forest. I mean, they have the stalk, so they can even hide in plain sight and just catch the enemy off guard, surprise them at the back. And yes, you need to work a little on this strategy, but it's definitely a viable option. Then for our missile units, we still have the Jade Warriors with the crossbows, but in this case we can get the version with the shields that are more defensive, they get a better protection, and also the iron hail gunners. Then the first artillery piece to try to get the range superiority, even because against Ogre Kingdoms, Greenskins, the Vampire Counts, and I mean with the Dark Elves, with the Chaos Dwarfs that are on the west, no. But in case you're attacking some Chaos Warriors at the north, you will probably have the range superiority because they don't have access to many artillery pieces. And then for flank support, we can get the Celestial Lion in case we need to chase down some targets and some fast targets. And then we have the heroes. You asked me to introduce this section in this series, so I did it. Here I suggest you to take a Close Speaker because he's the Tigermen spellcaster, and also a Gate Master, because with all the new abilities that I talked about in a previous video, he will be able to boost your troops, even if it's not the Tiger Warriors, but I mean all the other units. Hi, it's again me from the future, and I want to clarify again the point about the price. The Stalkers are very expensive, more than you expect, especially for being a stealthy units that most of time they don't have this price, probably because they are better in melee, even if I don't see that in the battlefield. In any case, this is to tell you that if you don't plan to use them as they are meant to, so to ambush the enemy at the back and stuff like that, just don't recruit them, because believe me, it's a waste of money, and you can get a terracotta sentinel with the same money. Now let's move to the 4th tier buildings for this campaign, and I'm gonna show you 2 different options to build your army composition. The first one, this one that will focus more on gunpowder and ranged units, and the other that will focus more on monsters and flying options. Now let's start with this. As you can see, we finally get access to the last tier of the Tiger Warriors building that give us the most elite unit, but we can still use some Jade Warriors and the Gate Master from the 3rd tier of the barracks, but we got also the sniper units from Grand Cathay that are at the last tier of the buildings chain of the gunpowder, infantry and artillery. That can be helpful for this strategy. And from the last building we can get the Sky Lantern that, as I said in a previous video, it received a rework and now it's more efficient, and also the Alchemist that she's a spellcaster, but she can boost better these missile units. And now let's see together the first potential army composition for this 4th tier army. As you can see, our front line will be made still by Tiger Warriors units, but our flanks and the rear guard will be protected not only by the Jade Warriors with halberds, but also by our Iron Claw Tiger Warriors that are the most elite Tiger Warriors units, but at the same time you have to consider that we're talking about an elite unit, and that's why it's more expensive, and yeah, you will probably not be able yet to recruit many of them for the price, so you can still recruit some halberds to do the same job, but as a support, if you want some anti-large units that will defend your troops from monsters and large entities, it's better to get a couple of them, you know, in the middle of your rear guard, but not to defend the rear guard, but to you know, to charge the front when needed, and still our stalkers in case we want to try some stealthy strategies. Then we can get from our missile units not only the crossbowmen and the iron hail gunners, but also the sniper, the crane gunners that have a better range, more armor piercing damage, and they're better, we can say, yes, at tearing down cavalry monsters character. They still need the straight sight of the target, so you need to deploy them wisely, but yeah, you will have fun with them. As artillery pieces you can get still the cannon and the Sky Lantern that will offer a boost to your missile units, so you should put it to to float over your ranged units, so it will provide this bonus. As heroes we can keep the Gate Master, but I would suggest to replace the the Claw Speaker with the Alchemist, because I prefer to have just one spellcaster in my army, so the management is more easy, and the Alchemist then can get the new mount, the Sky Lantern. In this case you don't need anymore the artillery unit, and some other bonuses that she can use to boost the troops. Hi everyone, this is the last time that you will hear of me from the future, and this is again to tell you about the price of the Iron Claw Tiger Warriors. That I say that they are expensive, but they are not that expensive compared to the Tiger Warriors. So at this point you can recruit probably more of them, more than what I said. And yeah, just to tell you this. Yeah, I just find out that Tiger Warriors are very expensive, more than I thought. I don't know if they changed it with a patch where I was distracted, but yeah, I mean, keep this in mind. Now let's see together the second option of buildings that we can use for our 4th tier army. We can still get all the chain of the Jade warriors and the Tiger warriors, but instead of the Gunpowder and the missile units, we can get the Astromancer with all the flying monsters, the Moon Dragon and the Celestial Dragon, and the Celestial Lion and the Moon Bird, and also the Logma Riders. So you can create your personal fleet. Sorry, I was dying. Okay, let's see this second potential army composition for our 4th tier army. Our front line will be the same, the flanks, rear guard and support will be the same, with the addition of the Logma Riders, that are these flying cavalry that it's very fast, quite strong with a good charge, and of course since they are flying they can protect your flying units in case you have some lantern, but this is not the case, and they can also intercept some elusive target. For our missile department, we can still have some crossbowmen to offer some cover fire, and then as monsters we can get the Celestial Lion and the Moon Bird depending on the situation. The Celestial Lion is a little more tanky and it can absorb more damage, while the Moon Bird is better at hunting down and chase prey, but yeah, if gets surrounded he can turn out to be very weak. As heroes, I would still keep the Gate Master for all the bonuses, but I would replace the Alchemist and the Close Speaker with the Astromancer, because he can boost with his new ability in the skill tree that I talked about in the previous video. He can boost these flying monsters that are the Celestial Lion and the Moon Bird, so you can have fun with both the new Tigermen warriors and the new bonuses that this hero can offer to these monsters. Now let's finally see all the 5th tier buildings that are available in this campaign, that are the one that gives you the Terracotta Sentinels and the other that gives you the Sky Junks. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any 5th tier elite warriors of the Tigermen. That it's a pity, not a pity, I mean, sorry, I don't know how strong is the word pity in English, but I mean, it's bad, it's not painful, but it's bad, but still, we can create something fun, of course, still by using some units of the 4th and 3rd. Okay, here we have the last army composition for the very late game in Total War Warhammer 3 with the Bhashiva campaign. As you can see, all our frontline, flanks, rear guard and support will be now consisting of only the Iron Claw Tiger warriors, because at this point of the campaign we will be full of money, and yeah, we don't have to worry anymore about our expenses, so we can even just fill up our army with the most elite Tiger warriors units, that of course they are less specialized than the Stalkers, or I mean, they are definitely better than the Tiger warriors, even if they don't have the same. I think they have a lesser melee attack, at least right now, but they can change it with the patch, but overall they are better, so you can even just rely on them for the same kind of job, and they will have so many bonuses at this point of the campaign that they are also quite resistant. Then we can have as a support the Stalkers if we want something more stealthy, or the Logma Riders if we want some flying support. As our missile, I would rely mostly on the crossbows for some fire, and fire with with the arc, and to some I will rely also on some snipers in case we need to knock down some big characters or targets, large units and so on. The artillery can be the Sky Junk, that it's a good compromise between the cannon and and the Sky Lantern, so you have a flying artillery piece that will do the job pretty well, but instead unlike the cannon that is more focused on large entities, the Skyjunk should fire only at infantry. Then as monsters we have the Terracotta Sentinel and the Moonbird. The Moonbird if we need a flying hunter, and the Terracotta Sentinel if we need a tank that can, just be in the middle of the army formation and absorb all the damage from the enemy front line. And then as heroes we can go back to the close speaker, so we can work with our and play with our favorite Tiger, and only of course Tiger spellcaster that it's better in melee, and he has access to more spells and more lores of magic. That's why you can definitely vary a little more. Thank you for following me, I hope you had fun. Sorry it was not the best day for me, but yes, I hope to see very soon.